Leo stood frozen in front of the crystalline enclosure, watching the draconian circle above him like living myths. Their vast, iridescent wings caught the artificial sunlight of the orbital station, scattering colors across the glass walls. Every movement they made shimmered with power and intelligence. These were not just aliens. They were legends, ancient, feared, and respected across the galaxy. And Leo's job was to feed them. Just one job. That was all he had been trusted with on the most important diplomatic mission humanity had ever attempted. If this ceremony failed, Earth would lose its chance to join the Galactic Consortium, an alliance that controlled trade, technology, and peace across dozens of star systems. His hands trembled as he gripped the feeding cart. "Leo, they're getting restless." Anna stepped beside him, her datapad glowing with warning indicators. As the station's lead xenobiologist, she understood the Draconians better than anyone alive. And the look on her face told him everything was already going wrong. "The delegation arrives in 10 minutes, she said quietly. "This feeding ritual is sacred to them." Leo swallowed and stared at the empty containment slots on the cart. The protein synthesizers, machines designed to produce perfectly calibrated nutrition blocks for alien physiology, were dead. A power surge overnight had fried their systems beyond repair. "I know," Leo muttered. "I know." Draconians were ritualistic to the extreme. Their culture revolved around precision, intention, and respect. Serving incorrect food wasn't just a mistake, it was an insult. And insults, in Draconian tradition, ended negotiations permanently. Anna's voice dropped. "If we postpone, they'll see it as weakness. And if we serve nothing," Leo replied, "they'll see it as disrespect." Beyond the glass, one of the massive creatures let out a low, reverberating growl. The sound vibrated through the station walls. Outpost logs confirmed the stakes in cold numbers: one failed ceremony equals humanity excluded from the consortium indefinitely. Leo exhaled slowly. "Run diagnostics again?" Anna offered, though they both knew it was pointless. "They're dead," Leo said. "No time to rebuild. 10 minutes. No machines. No protocol. No backup plan. Just a human with shaking hands, an impossible responsibility, and the terrifying knowledge that billions of lives rested on what happened next." And then Leo made a decision. A stupid one. Or possibly the bravest one in human history. Leo pulled the thermal cover off the feeding cart. Anna froze. Slowly, her eyes widened as steam curled upward, carrying a rich, unmistakable aroma: garlic, cheese, rendered fat, and something deeply human. "Leo," she whispered. "Is that spaghetti carbonara?" he said quietly. "Real eggs. Real bacon. Real parmesan." Anna grabbed his arm. "You can't be serious." "I raided the crew's personal food stores," Leo continued. "Every last emergency ration. Every hidden stash." "You can't serve them cooked food," Anna hissed. "Their digestive systems are designed for raw protein matrices. This could poison them. Or worse, offend them." Leo met her gaze. "Or it could be the most interesting thing they've ever tasted." Before she could respond, the doors hissed open. Commander Serex entered first. His massive form filled the chamber, deep purple scales shimmering, a color Leo had learned meant cautious curiosity. Behind him came 3 other Draconians, their wings folded neatly, their reptilian eyes locking onto Leo with unnerving intensity. "Human Leo," Serex said, his voice resonating like distant thunder. "The feeding hour has arrived." Leo bowed, his heart hammering. "Commander, before we begin, I must confess something." The purple darkened. "Our synthesizers failed during the night cycle," Leo said. "Standard protocol would demand postponement." A ripple of tension passed through the chamber. "But," Leo continued, forcing his voice steady, "I've learned your people value bold action over careful retreat. A flash of amber crossed Serex's scales. So instead, Leo said, pushing the cart forward, I prepared something from my world. Not for survival alone, but for pleasure. For expression. For art. He removed the cover completely. Steam billowed out. The Draconians leaned forward as one, nostrils flaring. You offer heat-altered organic matter, one asked, confused. We call it cooking, Leo said. It's one of the oldest human arts. We transform raw materials into experiences. Silence stretched. Anna barely breathed. Serex stepped closer. And you believe this is suitable for draconian physiology? Leo swallowed. I honestly don't know. But every species here serves perfectly balanced nutrition blocks. Efficient. Safe. Forgettable. He gestured to the food. I wanted to show you who we are. Serex did something no human had ever seen a draconian do. He laughed. The deep, rumbling sound vibrated the enclosure glass. In 300 diplomatic cycles, Serex said, I have been offered nutrition blocks by every species imaginable. Each one perfectly calibrated. Each one utterly forgettable. He reached forward, claws surprisingly delicate, and lifted a plate. But never, he continued, has anyone offered me something they themselves treasure. He took a bite. Time stopped. His scales rippled through colors Leo couldn't interpret, violet, copper, white-hot gold. The other Draconians leaned in, watching every reaction. It burns, Serex said. The heat damages the protein structure. The salt content is excessive. The fat ratio is absurd. Leo's heart sank. And yet, Serex continued, his scales glowing brighter, it is extraordinary. The chamber filled with movement as the other Draconians surged forward, taking plates with eager curiosity. This bacon, Serex said slowly, creates flavor compounds my receptors have never encountered. The cheese offers texture beyond any nutrition block. These imperfections, somehow combine into something greater. Within moments, the enclosure echoed with sounds no human expected, enthusiastic eating. Anna whispered, stunned, you've just introduced an entire species to cuisine. Serex returned to Leo, his plate nearly empty. Human Leo. You were given one job. Leo braced himself. To feed the dragons, Serex said. And you have done so. Not with nutrition, but with culture. He placed a clawed hand on Leo's shoulder, a sign of deep respect. You fed us art. You fed us joy. You fed us identity. Serex turned to the others. The consortium has 23 species. All optimized. All efficient. He looked back at Leo. And then there are humans. You waste energy, Serex continued, his scales shifting in hues Leo had never seen. You transform perfectly adequate raw materials into something beautiful simply because it brings you joy. He paused. That strange inefficiency is exactly what this consortium lacks. The decision was unanimous. Earth was welcomed among the stars. As the Draconians departed, already arguing animatedly about flavor profiles and preservation techniques, Anna turned to Leo, shaking her head. You had one job, she said. Leo grinned. Yeah. Feed the dragons. Outside the viewport, Earth hung in the darkness, a small blue world that had just earned its place in the galaxy. Not with weapons. Not with technology. But with a plate of pasta.